Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. This one is from a donation from Alfredo Lamas, or Llamas. Thanks Alfredo, appreciate it. And he wanted me to cover RC's Champion Magnum. He's a very popular dog in his day, a good producer. He was sired by Finley's Champion Bo. Everybody, if you've been in dogs any length of time, you know who Bo is. There's something that's been said for a lot of years about Bo, and it's that he produced a champion in every litter he was bred. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if it wasn't every litter, it was almost every litter. And So Boys had several champions off a Bo and down off a Bo. I would say that was their bloodline. They liked the Bo dogs. They had other stuff too, and they competed with other stuff too, but most of it revolves around Champion Bo. They had Champion Magnum. They had Champion Bronco. They had a son of Magnum, Champion Stone. Bo produced Grand Champion Outlaw, 7-time winner when he was bred to Rascal Jr.'s sister. There's Hopper's Champion Bully. Of course, we know Jeep, Holly, Charlie, Missy, from the Bo to Honey Bunch litter. So he was definitely a great producer. And RC at one point was with the So Boys. They used to be called RC and the So Boys. And then at some point they weren't together, and both of them still had success with the blood. So Champion Magnum, I'm going to concentrate a little bit, done some research, some stuff from memory. He was sired by Finley's Champion Bo out of Carter's Champion Dixie Belle. Dixie Belle, Bo has a lot of Colby in him. Dixie Belle goes back to some Colby. There's some commonality there. But she also has Tudor's Frito and Mason blood. Frito was a son of Daibo. He was conditioned by a couple of different people, one of them being Al Brown. He was a 3 or 4-time winner. So you see the commonality in Magnum of the Colby stuff. And you also see some crosses in there. Dixie Belle was sired by McBriar's Hatchet and out of McBriar's Little Baby. And that's stuff that goes back to the Colby, Frito, Mason stuff. Dixie Belle was reportedly a very good female also. And some of Magnum's offspring were Grand Champion Fritz and Magnolia, 2-time winner. Dakota, a 2-time winner, 1-time loser. Dakota actually was a 2-time winner, and he lost a 3rd match to Grand Champion Handicap. Champion Leo, Champion Stone. He was a very popular stud and a reportedly good dog too. Ruby was a 1-time winner. Ruby, I believe I saw her, if it's the same Ruby I'm thinking of, she was campaigned by Tito and the Local Boys. She was a 1-time winner. She beat Williams' Miss Nevada. Miss Nevada was the daughter of Chinaman, Vinny's Chinaman. And that fight went 2 hours and 37 minutes, I think. I think that's the same Ruby. She was sired by Stone. There's also So Boys had Dash, Ranger, Ruger, all of them 1-time winners. Spencer was a 2-time winner. Now Fritz was a real popular dog too. He was used back east by RC and the So Boys, and Tito used him. And I'm pretty sure it was Fritz that fought on the same card as Smith and Walton's Grand Champion Badger. Badger beat Cox's Bloody Billy. Both of them were two-time winners. That's where Badger won his championship. And it may be where Fritz either won his championship or his grand championship. I forget which one. But he won on that same card. So did Sorrel's. Which one was it? It was the Sorrel's dog that won on that card too. Wasn't Bud Light. Maybe Sailor, one of them. Anyways, those three top kennel or top dogs from those kennels won on the same card. Fritz was like a 34, 36 pound dog. At one point, RC wanted to go into Badger, Grand Champion Badger. And it may have been after that show, since they were both on that show. Badger actually got best in show on that show. And it never came off. I don't know why. There's different reasons why, but that would have been a hell of a match, I think. Putting two top dogs like that together. Fritz was by Candy, who was a two-time winner. Oh, some other offspring of Magnolia. I think I mentioned her, a two-time winner. Dakota, I mentioned him. Champion Stone and Ruby, all of them. But Fritz was by Candy. Candy was a two-time winner, also a RC and the So-So Boys dog. Magnolia was by Misty, a two-time winner. And there was also Champion Cardiac. She was reportedly a bad bitch. Cardiac was a sister to the Dakota dog, the one that lost to Handicap. And Cardiac was a three-time winner. They were by Wilkes Nelly. And I think his name was Stanley Wilkes. But he was one of those proponents of the So-So Boys dogs, Bow dogs. He had other stuff too, but he had some of that blood. Did good with it. Champion Stone was by Rosie. Ruby was actually a sister to Fritz, and they were both out of Candy, like I mentioned. Candy was a two-time winner. So a lot of these litters, their dogs are related to each other. They're bred to the same females. There's a lot of litter mates. There's a whole list you can look online of different ones and check the breedings. These kind of were the ones that I was more familiar with because I saw some of them. I saw dogs bred down from that, you know. And in fact, there's a picture of me with the Irish kid's baby. And she comes down from the Grand Champion, Crenshaw's Grand Champion Blackjack, Grand Champion Handicap, and some of the So-So Boy stuff through War Paint's Champion So-So. He's got stuff down from Dot. That's where this baby female came from. Irish kid had her. And a very good female. She was raised by my grandson. I've mentioned her before. But she had kind of that Blackjack, Handicap, So-So Boy stuff in it. And real good, you know. Champion War Paint's Champion So-So was by Champion Bronco. It's another famous son of Bo. So RC and the So-So Boys Champion Bronco. He was a three-time winner, 3 times best in show. I think he was sold to at one point sold to Bert Sorrells, and I think Sorrells sold him to some fanciers in Australia. But just good dogs. As far as Magnum's record go, he beat Bob Cox twice in at 40 pounds and at both of them at 40 pounds. He beat Rayler and Cadillac that were owned by Cox, and he beat Pardon's JR at 42 pounds. For those are his 3 wins, twice over Cox and once over Pardon. And you know, again, reportedly a good dog. Most of this stuff, the Magnum Stone stuff I saw were through Tito and the local boys. And I forget a little female. They had a little female. She ended up being a 2-time winner. And she lost to Champion Little Mama, I think. That was some of the Carver stuff through kind of like Banjo and BB Red stuff, kind of related to that Thibodeau and LG stuff. You know, I think her name was Little Mama or Bad Mama. But the little female Tito was using, she was a two-time winner, and I was there when she beat Danny Burton. Danny Burton had a little rascal bred female, and the little, they were like 30-pound females, 30, 31, something like that. Tito's bitch won in 30 or 32 minutes, something like that. And then I later saw, uh, I'm not sure if it was down off of France, or I know she had Ruby in the pedigree, but it was a little female that they used. It was Bill and Tito and them used against OTK. OTK had a two-time winner, and the little Bow or RC bred female won in like an hour 5, hour 6, like that. And I saw other ones of that blood. What impressed me the most, what they reminded me, the ones I saw, and I'm not saying some of them fought rough. Fritz was supposedly a rough dog. You know, of course, Bronco, he beat one of the dogs out of the famous Bobby Jr. Dirty Mary breeding. I think it was Indian Joe or the other one. I forget the other one's name. But Bronco beat one of them, and uh, like I said, some of them were probably rough. The ones I saw and the ones that impressed me is they reminded me kind of the Boleo dogs, even in some of their structure, which means their front legs came kind of straight down. And I noticed through the years, dogs like that, what they have is good balance, good maneuverability, good balance, smart. They can fight rough, but they can fight on top too, muzzle, head, and all that. And the ones I saw could do that. Fast, you know, good wrestlers, but it was hard to knock them off their feet. And intelligence was part of their game. Most of them were, the ones I saw were black or black and white. There were some buckskins, you know, and that's what I think about when I see. Now, Magnum may have been a rough dog, you know, Bronco may have been a rough dog, other dogs, Fritz, whatever, may have been rough, but I think that because of how they were bred and the females they were bred to, the ones I saw, they were kind of an all-around dog. And that doesn't mean, what I'm saying is they all fought the head and front, you know, muzzle and all that. They would fight rough too. It's just that they were hard to throw off their feet. They were well balanced, and they were smart, and they could maneuver good. They could use the whole area of the box, and they had good defense while they were on offense. That little Ruby female just did everything she needed to do to beat Miss Nevada. And it went a long time, you know. I don't remember any of them being like devastating biters, even though they could bite good, they could do damage, you know. There may have been some that I didn't see that were just bone crushers, I don't know. But, you know, the point I'm making is they were well-rounded dogs. They had good mouth. They could wrestle good. They were smart. They could maneuver. They could go distance. They could end it quick. You know, Fritz has 2 or 3 short ones, and then 2 or 3 over the hour mark, you know. Ruby went 2 hours and 37 minutes. She looked good doing it, you know. Some of the other ones, Bronco, I think he might have won an hour one time. I think he won an hour and 6 over that Bobby Jr. Dirty Mary dog. And I think it was Indian Joe. One of those dogs from the breeding Bobby Jr. to Dirty Mary lost to champion Bronco, and another one lost to grand champion Bronson. Both of them were 2-time winners at the time. So even those dogs went into good competition, and they lost to good competition. Some of the so-so boys, RC dogs, you know, people thought of them as aces like Bronco. like Stone, you know. But though that's basically, what I noticed about them. They were just well-rounded dogs, you know, bred to different females. Some of them have the the uh, the Colby stuff in them. Some of them have more tighter Daibo, like Dixie Belle has Daibo and Mason blood in her with the Colby. Some of them were Carver bred dogs. Some of them have the Grand Champion Outlaw in them, if I'm not mistaken, which is Bo to Rascal Jr.'s sister. And I'm not saying that they did that, but there are other people that had that stuff where they had the Grand Champion Outlaw mixed with kind of the different Bo stuff, you know. They just have they had a way of figuring things out, getting the job done, being rough if they had to, being smart when they had to, had good air. I can't really say the ones I saw where they had to show extreme gameness, even though they did show gameness by going distance, but they were just kind of like the Boleo dogs. When they have to show it, it's there. But a lot of them didn't have to show it in that respect because they were so talented. Even though going a long distance, they weren't really put behind. And the stuff I seen, down from Magnum and Stone, they were so talented they really didn't get put behind. And if they had to go an hour, 2 hour, whatever it is, man, they had the air and the ability, natural movement and wrestling ability to do it. So they did show heart, but to get them to that point with dogs like that, it's hard to get them to that point where they have to show that falling down extreme gameness. They're not built that way. They don't fight that way. And so for that reason, it's hard to beat them because they're so talented. They have so much ability. And if the blood was around today, that's what I would be looking for. You get a real hard biting sucker, you lucky. Lucky in the fact because they're going to have all those other tools. And if they're a hard biter, that's just icing on the cake. And if they're just a good biter or just a hard biter, all those other talents make it hard for those type of dogs to lose. That's why they won so many matches. RC used them. RC and the So-So boys used them. Tito and the local boys used them. Wilkes used them. McBriar, different people that were considered top dog men used them, and for good reason. And I think maybe what I'm talking about here, that has a reason for them using that. So, they went into top competition. Tito traveled all over the place. I saw him in several matches. He even used one of my dogs to win in a match. So, this is a little bit something on Magnum. I didn't see him personally. I didn't see Stone personally, but I saw dogs bred down from that blood, and I was impressed with them. So hope you liked the video, kind of short. More interviews coming up. Thanks for all your support. Still have books for sale and t-shirts. I got a new t-shirt coming out of Champion Bill. That'll be out soon. I got the Sporting Dog Journal yearbooks and my books and Keep book and breaking sticks, hats. So everything still available. Just contact me on Facebook Messenger or my email, richardjschoolboy60@gmail.com, or on Instagram. And once again, thanks for all your support.